All right, let's jump right into this. Picture this. You're cruising down the highway in Texas, minding your own business, just keeping up with traffic. And then, boom, flashing red and blue lights in the rearview mirror. Your heart skips a beat, right? Totally normal. You pull over. But here's the kicker for this exact scenario. You are legally carrying a firearm. The officer walks up to your window, and your brain immediately starts spinning. What happens now? What if they flat out ask if I have a gun in the car? How you handle the next 30 seconds is absolutely crucial. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to demystify your legal rights, your responsibilities, and the exact playbook you need for police encounters in Texas when you're carrying.
So let's tackle the big question right out of the gate. Can a police officer actually ask if you have a firearm? The short, direct answer, yes. Yes, they absolutely can ask you that. But, and this is a massive but, just because they ask doesn't automatically mean you are legally required to spill every single detail about your firearm on the spot. An officer's question is just the start of the conversation, not some magic command to surrender all your information. The legal reality here is way more nuanced than just a simple yes or no.
To get us fully up to speed, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the police encounter question. Second, understanding Texas gun laws. Third, license to carry obligations. Fourth, handling a traffic stop. And finally, fifth, when to seek legal counsel.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the police encounter question.
You know, there really isn't a simple, one-size-fits-all script for how you have to respond. What you're legally required to do actually boils down to 4 main factors. First up, the circumstances. Like, why are we stopped in the first place? Second is your licensing status. Do you have a formal license or are you operating under permitless carry? Third, location, location, location. Are you chilling in your own car or are you standing right outside a restricted zone? And fourth, the specific laws applicable in that exact jurisdiction at that very moment. All these pieces fit together like a giant puzzle to dictate exactly what you are, and definitely aren't, legally required to tell that officer.
Moving right along to Section 2, Understanding Texas Gun Laws.
Okay, we need to clear up a super common misconception right now. A lot of people hear permitless carry, and they think, awesome, absolute freedom. But while it's true that Texas does have permitless carry for many eligible adults, that literally does not mean firearms are allowed everywhere, or that every single person can legally carry one. Permitless carry does not equate to ruleless carry. Honestly, understanding that distinction is the difference between going about your day and facing a really serious criminal charge.
See, the boundaries of Texas gun laws are actually pretty strict. Even with permitless carry, there are heavy restrictions involving prohibited persons, meaning folks who legally can't possess a firearm because of past criminal history or other legal disqualifications. Then you've got restricted locations. You can't just stroll into a courthouse or a school with a gun, permitless or not, no way. And finally, certain types of weapons are restricted entirely. Knowing these boundaries before you ever strap on a holster is literally your first layer of legal protection.
Which brings us to Section 3, License to Carry Obligations.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If you actually hold a formal Texas license to carry, an LTC, you aren't just playing by general permitless carry rules anymore. By getting that license, you've essentially made a specific agreement with the state, and that comes with distinct duties. Folks who hold an LTC may have highly specific legal obligations to disclose things during a police stop that someone carrying without a permit might not have. It's a trade-off, right? You get certain perks with an LTC, but you also take on extra rules when interacting with the cops.
And these variables mix and match in very specific ways. When you combine your LTC status with the exact location of the stop and the specific circumstances, it totally shifts your disclosure requirements. Think about it. A routine speed trap on a public highway versus an investigation near a restricted zone. The rules of engagement literally change. This is exactly why you can't just rely on legal advice from your buddy at a weekend barbecue. The formula, changing your obligations, is incredibly dynamic.
All right, Section 4, Handling a Traffic Stop.
So let's get practical. This is your behavioral checklist, and it is entirely about safety, yours and the officers. Step 1, stay calm and keep your hands visible. The steering wheel is a great place for them. Step 2, do not suddenly reach towards your firearm. Sudden movements are the fastest way to escalate a situation dangerously. Step 3, follow lawful instructions clearly and cooperatively. Step 4, never physically resist a search. If you think the search is bogus, the side of the road is not the courtroom. You fight that later with a lawyer. Step 5, don't give false information. Lying to a cop just digs a deeper hole. And Step 6, do not guess your legal obligations. If you aren't sure, say less, not more.
I really want to burn this de-escalation strategy into your memory, which is why we've highlighted these 3 commands right here. Stay calm, keep hands visible, follow lawful instructions.
Seriously, when a firearm is in the mix, any sudden jerk or movement creates a massive, totally unnecessary safety risk that could be fatal. Clear communication and cooperation are your absolute best tools to stop a tragic misunderstanding before it starts. Now, there is a vital legal nuance between lying and remaining silent, and a lot of folks get this mixed up. Like we just said, you generally should never lie to an officer. But depending on the exact circumstances and the applicable law in that moment, you may have the absolute right to respectfully decline to answer questions that you aren't legally required to answer. There is a world of difference between committing a crime by giving false info and just politely pleading the fifth to a probing question.
But listen, I've got to hit pause and stress this. Legal requirements can vary dramatically from situation to situation. Every single stop is its own unique beast. The law is super complex, and the specific facts of your encounter will dictate the rules. If you're ever sitting there, heart-pounding, unsure of your legal standing, do not guess. Guessing your rights on the shoulder of the highway is a terrible idea. Just a quick reminder, everything we're discussing in this explainer is for general educational purposes, not personalized legal advice.
And finally, Section 5, when to seek counsel. Look, if you end up arrested, or even if you just walk away feeling like your rights were trampled on during a firearm-related stop, you need to step back and let a pro take over. Getting a qualified Texas criminal defense attorney in your corner does 3 huge things. First, they help you actually understand your rights in hindsight, what should have happened versus what actually went down. Second, they can dig into the evidence, the body cams, dash cams, police reports, with a trained, objective legal eye. And third, they help you map out your legal options to protect your record and ultimately your freedom.
So if you take nothing else away from this entire explainer, let it be this. Preparation is your absolute best defense, period. Know your rights before you ever start the car. Understand the law and how it specifically applies to your license status and your location. And most importantly, get real legal guidance when you need it. Seriously, do not try to play lawyer on the side of the road based on something you read online.
Since the source material for today's deep dive comes from an incredible legal mind who lives and breathes this stuff, we wanted to make sure you have his info. George Napier is a Texas criminal defense attorney who specializes in helping citizens navigate these exact highly complex firearm scenarios. You can easily look him up and connect with his firm on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Honestly, having a solid defense attorney saved in your contacts is just as crucial as carrying your license in your wallet.
All right, that wraps up our deep dive. I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on next time you get behind the wheel. We've seen that the laws around firearms and police encounters are intensely complicated, highly situational, and strictly enforced. So ask yourself, are you genuinely prepared for the exact moment those flashing lights appear in your rearview mirror? Or are you just going to guess your rights on the fly? Getting informed today is exactly how you protect your freedom tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and hey, stay safe out there.